So that's kind of a kick in the nuts, isn't it? Being down the game in the top 8, but at least you're favored. Sort of.
Sure. That's one way to look at things. We'll go with that.
Yeah, and so Vincent now, despite being the lower seed, now on the play for this game.
Now, Joe, we see foil Irrigated Farmland, followed by foil Hall of Storm Giants. What are the odds this isn't all foiled out Blue-Eye Control deck?
I mean, the odds increase the more cards we see, don't they?
Rapidly converging on 100% here.
Yeah.
And look, you got to register the correct foils, the foils that are actually in your deck. So be careful with that. But if you can clear that hurdle successfully, then you get to play your camera matches on style.
Yes, indeed, styling it up, and indeed with the hats. Now, both players with hats here, and Vincent wins the style points on that one too. I don't know what that hat is, but it's got a lot of stuff going on.
It's eye-catching. You see that across the room. You have questions. You see Richard's hat, nice hat, functional, fine. Moving on with your life, not giving it a second thought.
All right, so we have a Shark Typhoon for Richard Papierski. Shark Typhoon present in both deck lists.
Yeah, this is a key to, especially the post-board games against Blue-Eye Control. He has 2 in the main deck, 2 more on the sideboard, boarding out to the full set. Game 1, you don't have as many of them, and also they just have more removal in their deck. So unlikely the Shark token is going the distance, but is a nice tool to have access to.
All right, so part of the reason why this matchup is going to be tough is things like Big Score, which we see here. Discard is part of the cost of playing it. If this gets countered, Richard's just down an extra card, but it's going to resolve. So he's going to benefit himself 2 treasures and then replace the Spikefield Hazard with fresh cards.
Yeah, potentially a sign of weakness. Would you counter that Big Score if you could? I have to think so. It gets weird if, for example, you have a Dovin Zeta, right? That card is solid gold in the matchup. Mm-hmm. He's going to counter creativity for sure. Maybe you're thinking, just want to hold that for as long as possible. But if you have any kind of more marginal counterspell, I would happily fire that one off.
Yeah, right. I mean, it's kind of the threat. Like if you count, obviously you want to counter that. But if then there's a token to play. If there's no token to play, maybe you're more willing to do it also. But you don't want to just get bopped here, out of nowhere. So it does get through. All right, I just got asked in chat about the deck list, so we'll pass the message along, and they should be freed up any moment now.
So both players going to know what they're working with as well. We'll get a chance to see the opponent's deck list here.
All right, and we are, Fable the Mirror Breaker here. Yeah, so the players have full information, and in any moment now, as soon as someone sees my message, then you at home will also have full information on what's going on. And there is a counter. Absorb takes down Fable. So prioritizing, maybe it's a matter of Fable's a stronger card, or maybe it's just a matter of this is main phase and Vincent's less worried, so he cranks off the counter.
Okay, here's another Fable. And it seems like that one is, going out to resolve. Dice being handed over. Very sportsmanlike.
So similar to the modern decks we saw yesterday, creativity obviously benefits from having overall stuff in play. There's also cards you don't want your creatures in your hand. So this is a route to throw them away and get them back in the deck. The World Spine Worm does shuffle back in if Richard is stuck with it currently. Shields down. Well, for the moment, I guess. And Teferi drops in. And shields back up with at least single counter mana available. Now, like you're saying, the Dovin Veto is a much more potent card for Vincent here than Absorb, as it cannot be played back against. If you're Richard, you're up a game here. If you have it, you just go. Can you run it out here, or is that silly? Do you just let it build and you have stuff on the board and you try and battle out a longer game? I don't know.
I mean, the game slips away from you so quickly, right? If Teferi gets to second play for anything longer than a turn. So,
2 cards rummaged by Richard, and I mean, Vincent did absorb a Fable, so Would he do that with no other counters in hand? Maybe, maybe not. He does have one additional card since then because of the Teferi. And yeah, there's no Make to Spear in hand for Richard either. But you're right, it gets worse. All right, well, not countering that one. And Richard is going to try and attack down the Teferi, which could actually work.
Yeah, at the very least, might bait out a removal spell of some kind.
Mm-hmm.
We've seen a lot of channeled Sokenzans today.
We have. That's a good point. We really have. And here is a March to take out the token. That's rough. March of Otherworldly Light casts for just a single white source. Can take down the Fable token. And more importantly, yeah, no treasure for Richard, and Teferi will survive. I mean, untapping with Teferi in play, Vincent can't ask for much more than that, right? I mean, this is just already feeling like you're in control of the hand, control of the game.
Yeah, I mean, we'd love to find a Supreme Verdict or something just to kind of clean up these 1/1s, and sure enough, there it is.
Yeah, no answer to that for Richard, and Vincent will pass with 4 or 5 mana available, a clean board. I guess Reflection is on the way in, but it's all by its lonesome right now.
Now, I don't know if it's just the lighting and the camera angle, but I'm not seeing much glare on these cards. Are some of these non-foil, Joe?
The Teferi does not look foil to me. I'll grant you that. Neither does the Field of Ruin. So yeah, you're right. Vincent let us down. We do have, however, a foil treasure in play for Richard, I think.
Don't know if that treasure is worth more in, new Capennan currency.
All right, so Richard, interesting that Vincent untapped a Field of Ruin. So not that it's very meaningful, but stating there are not two Dovin's Vetoes in hand. Maybe that's something Richard can file away for later on the game if it's
it shuts off the possibility of you play Mutavault, animate Mutavault, creativity on the same turn. Pretty unlikely lie, but just something to be cognizant of.
Good point. All right, so here's a third Fable for the game. So Richard will. I mean, this is a decent card to fight with. It also allows the Reflection that's already in play to be more potent once it itself gets to Chapter 3.
Going to fire off Field of Ruin now, just downgrading a Steam Vents to a basic.
Yeah, Richard does have a Spell Pierce in hand, so there are. Well, it's just tough. It's tough for Spell Pierce to be live at any point, really, once Teferi's in play. What?
Yeah, the one Spell Pierce and 3 Mage Disappears, which can, pay 4 mana is a tall order sometimes, but yeah, for the most part, it's just soft counters, at least in game 1. So over the course of a 10-turn game, those can become dead.
Right. Yeah, and Vincent is well on his way to making that happen. So we'll finish fetching up for the Chosen Lands. Looks like a mountain for Richard, a plains for Vincent, and make our way through this potentially deciding game 1 of the quarterfinals. Do we even call this a game 1 anymore? Is this technically?
There's a real philosophical dilemma there.
I vote for calling it game 1. But,
okay. I mean,
yeah, I could understand an argument to the contrary.
Maybe you have to do the air quotes. It's like game 1.
Yeah, right. Something that can break out, or at least help break out of Teferi Blue-White Control locks is Hall of Storm Giants. So if Richard can find one of those, that would also be a reason to hold on the Field of Ruin. And here we have...
Oh, is that Farewell?
I don't know. That would fit.
6
yes,
mana.
It is. Yes, you're
Something
right.
getting Spell Pierced, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So, of course, as soon as we say the taxing counters are dead, there is a live use of one. And preserving the board state for Richard. Teferi at 4. Actually, Teferi is vulnerable here because the reflection can attack, and then there's the token. Yeah, wow. Well, that's pretty significant here for Richard.
Yeah, Vincent could have interaction of some kind, but we mentioned those soft counters. If Richard has Mage Disappear, no, not really any mana left over, so that is going to be live here. Big score down, and some other card discarded too. I think just a removal spell of some kind. Maybe a second big score.
It does look similar. Yeah, I think you're right. As Richard's graveyard grows horizontally across the board. Looking for, what is he looking for? He's probably, well, I guess ideally he's looking for creativity, but Make Disappear won't even protect it, so it's not relevant if he has that or not, unless Vincent has his own copies of Make Disappear. Here is creativity. All right, bang, bang, let's go.
Here's our namesake card. Love it when the main character shows up. And there's Dovin's veto.
All right. So for Dovin's vetoing my creativity, you still lose your Teferi.
Yep, and we can even
there.
Reflection can even copy the Goblin token, right, to get another treasure, unless we have other plans for it.
Yeah, unless we're using it this turn, there's no reason not to do it. And Richard has come to the same thought.
You get another one of those Connor, Theo, and Max tokens. They got that custom Inkling custom token from winning the team showdown in our 2022 season.
Yeah, well earned, and it does look pretty sharp. And it is cool to have stuff like that used in other matches on camera and everything like that. It's nice to leave a little bit of a legacy.
You must have had a SCG token back in the day. Inkling custom token?
I have an Inkling token. Yeah, I had an Inkling token. I never won an SCG token. That was tough to achieve. I did top 8 an SCG Invitational. However, I did not win a game in the top 8. So
hold on, you're telling me you win a measly Invitational? They give you your own card. You win the whole Players Championship and you get nothing?
You're right. I did not get a token for that seems like an insult. I need to go back 7 years and scream at the outrage of that. I needed you by my side back then to stand up for my rights. I was snubbed. Oh, I need to put in a phone call. All right, back to the game. Teferi gone. Vincent lay down arms on the reflection, but a replacement reflection, it will pop into play next turn for Richard.
And the game's still... Oh, okay. Elspeth Sun's
champion. Wow.
And that is getting disappeared real fast.
Okay. Vincent tapped out. Richard, do you have another creativity? If you do...
Is it the time? Yeah.
Yeah, this would be the match. Vincent vulnerable. And obviously it was vulnerable anyway. Otherwise wouldn't have gone for that. But trying to make a presence on the board. And creativity doesn't cost 2. So if Richard's spending 2 mana, that's got to be fine with... Oh, okay.
Yeah, remembering his reflection.
Yeah, but I'm sure anything Richard wants to cast 2 right now, Vincent would be thrilled.
This is Impulse, maybe? What you got, Richard?
Careful on what he's doing. Verifying the mana.
Thinking hard about this.
Yeah.
Dig through time. That's terrifying.
Okay.
We got a sweat.
Yeah. So never mind. 4 cards. Let's look at 7 here for Richard.
That's a lot of looks.
Yeah, and 4 land plus a treasure left over. Okay, not yet.
6, 7.
Oh my gosh.
That's an underwhelming dig through time, I gotta say.
It sure is. Vincent's not gonna believe this. Yeah, and even the fact that Richard's shuffling through the cards thinking, okay, what do I take? You're like, oh, I can't, I'm so lucky. You're not just killing me. You could just drop the creativity in the board and we've been on to game 2 or 3, depending on what side of that argument you come down on.
Here's a thought for you though. So we got 1 treasure token there. We can copy our goblin, attack again.
Yeah.
That's 3 treasure tokens. We could just take the multiplier moment and just cast that thing.
Oh, sick. Yeah, then good luck supreme breaking that.
Right. It would mean that we, if we drew creativity, it wouldn't actually work anymore because
that's true. That's true. But on the other hand, Vincent might be dead already. Yeah. What? I mean, you're not going to lay down arms that either.
No, you're not.
Ossification. Bang. Good luck. Okay, so here's an attack. In for that's right, because this reflection is summoning sick.
Yeah, this one is. So gonna have to wait a turn for any worm shenanigans.
Yeah, Vincent probably can't even believe he's getting on tap here. The fourth Fable.
Different art than the others, I think.
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
But yeah, just played it safe with the land and the Major Spear. Makes sense. But now, if Vincent just has like another Supreme Verdict, let's say, still seems like anyone's game.
Mm-hmm. There's a Narset. Okay, that will disrupt the advantage of the Fable next turn.
Yeah, nice timing on that.
Richard would be well advised to not try to rummage anything, as he is certainly allowed to discard cards. Was that temporary lockdown? Well, that's pretty excellent here. Richard says, this isn't standard. Are you sure you're playing that?
Might be a worthy Major Spear target.
Yeah.
Yeah, there we go. And lay down arms. Okay, so Narset will survive at least this upcoming turn. Unless?
No, there's still 2 tokens in play.
Oh, no. Oh, you're right.
Are those the tokens and tokens? I think those are Fable tokens. I lost track. No, I think the tokens and tokens got
looks like
swept up. Yeah, these are the...
Yeah, there's a Connor, Max, and Theo.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, there's now this looming threat over the game of just anytime Richard draws creativity, that's it. We don't even have a game 2 or a game 3 to put it both ways.
All right, Richard. Well, Richard had the one creativity. Clearly, he has having trouble finding the second one, which would win the game, as you said. And okay, there down goes Narset. This is tough. Even though Richard doesn't have the win, he's just ahead on the board and ahead in material also. I think he has more cards in hand, or else it's even. And Vincent just doesn't have relevant cards. Maybe he's got some counters, but that doesn't even really make sense. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been tapping out. How does it feel like every single turn in this game, a reflection has flipped to chapter 3? It has happened 4 times.
It would only take something like a Memory Deluge or something like that for Vincent to be pretty confident in his position again. But
yes,
doesn't look like anything has materialized.
All right, main phase impulse. Looking for creativity. I mean, they have to be in there somewhere. At this point, Richard has seen quite a few cards, especially counting that Dig Through Time and the first couple of rummages off of Fables. Whatever he took there was not a creativity, I don't believe. All right, 4 more damage, 2 more treasure tokens. Vincent, do we have anything? Shark Typhoon, Memory Deluge. Well, there is a Shark Typhoon.
Okay.
Right. That's something. And that's a Hall of the Storm Giants for Richard. And
yeah, I think Vincent also has one just hiding out by that farmland, right?
Oh, you're right. He does. Okay, a 5/5 Shark. So that should dissuade the Goblin tokens from coming in. And can we get life totals? I think Vincent's at 10. I don't think
another Teferi. but may disappear would counter this.
Oh no. Yep, you're right. That's what it's going to be. All right.
That Goblin token has done its work.
Yeah, and then some.
Notably, Vincent did not leave up Fielder Ruin for Richard's Hall of Storm Giants. So wondering if that represents Absorb or something like that.
It could. I mean, that's one annoyance with Absorb is that it does actually take 3 colored mana, and you cannot leave open Field of Ruin. That certainly has impacted a number of games that I've played personally. And yeah, we're seeing it here. Okay, life totals are correct. So I'm sorry, I was wrong. It's an Izzet 14. How far do you have to get before you can send in the Hall of the Storm Giants?
I think.
Well, I guess we're there. No, this is.
You get to declare attackers, maybe.
Yeah, this is.
Just kidding.
Well, I still got bluffed on that one. Richard arranging mana. Yeah.
So.
At 6. Yeah, here's the Hall of Storm Giants. It's attacking.
Here it comes. There's Fateful Absence, I think, on Reflection.
Yeah. Okay. So is this to prevent a copy of Hall of the Storm Giants, which I don't believe works anyway?
No, it doesn't, because you get a land.
You get a land. Then,
yeah.
So that may not have been Richard's plan in the first place, but that may be what Vincent was afraid of.
Yeah, fascinating that Richard used a treasure token for that, just leaving open double mana there. Wonder what that's about.
All I could think of was that another farewell clearing out the treasures, leaving him tapped out, but that doesn't seem overly likely. I suppose it's possible. Anyway, Hall is going to attack here. The token looks like probably the token that's going to die at the end of the turn anyway attacks.
Yes.
And
the Hall of Storm Giants cuts Vincent's life total in half. So that there is the Field of Ruin, but we But now, okay, let's say Field of Ruin deals with Hall of Storm Giants. What does Richard have left in the tank? You know, he's got a 2/2 against a 5/5 and really nothing else.
Is Vincent considering it? Wow, Vincent is going on the offense here. This is an interesting game here. Vincent maybe thinking, well, I can defend myself with a removal spell or not, plus my Field of Ruin, and I might be okay. Not going to give up without a fight. Okay, a lot of mana. That's 5, not 6. So
this creativity for...
Well, creativity for lethal. That's a land. Does Richard... Yeah, Richard...
There we go.
Vincent's like, okay, well, I have a counter, but you need to actually play a spell first. And okay, Richard does realize Spiral of Canal is not the one he was looking for. Download creativity does meet and absorb. And Vincent pads his life total a little bit, which actually matters as well. 2 treasures get cashed in. And here comes Hall of Storm Giants meeting Field of Ruin. And yeah, Vincent has become more animated in the last 25 seconds, realizing he might still be in this game.
It was pretty animated already, but maybe in a less confident direction. So, yeah, you're seeing, I think, like people say, this matchup in game 1 is so difficult for creativity, where it felt like Richard he went through all 4 Fables this game, was able to line up his counter spells well against really expensive cards of Vincent, and yeah, here we are, right?
Okay, and a pass of the turn looks... Oh, nope, the token still comes across. And now, yeah, Vincent has kind of defeated most of the looming threats from Richard. So now he can continue attacking with this token, and it's actually winning the race. Hard to believe that he's actually ahead of a race in this game, but he is. And plus, he has his own hull also, so that could play a role. Is there? Let's see, hull's a 7, right? So that's 14. That's a little convenient, but that is in fact the case.
Mutavault has joined the party. And the Wandering Emperor finally shows up.
All right, so let's see options here. Vincent's going to use a little less loyalty and trade with the token, allow Mutavault to come through. So this now is 1 extra damage if he wants it by plussing on either the token or the Hall of the Storm Giants.
The Wandering Emperor is actually a big part of why this matchup is so difficult. If you think about what happens if you successfully creativity, you've done the thing, you get a 30-15 Wildspine Worm with haste and trample, and it attacks, and it gets eaten by the Wandering Emperor.
Yeah. No,
and then you got nothing left. That's all your deck can do.
I'm sure that has happened a number of times. So 5 damage across. Richard falls to 9. Now Vincent with a 2/2 in play, which is not actually a defense against Richard's combo, but is worth something. Here's Valakut's Awakening being cast. So this is the double-sided card where you can swap as many cards from your hand as you would like. Looks like 1 goes down. I think that was the entire hand. What do we got? 5, 6 mana? Creativity. Oh, Memory Deluge. All right, Vince is going looking.
He was so emphatic with it too. I assumed it just had to be another veto or something, but it still could be. Still could be.
Okay. Let's see what you found, Vincent. That's a Shark Typhoon cycle. Oh my gosh.
0.
Looking for an absorb, looking for a veto, looking for 3 mana. This resolves. Oh my goodness. All right. Yeah, the treasures are out of there, the ones that got targeted. And Richard goes flipping through the deck, looking for his combo. This is for 3. The excess one is of no value, but going for 3.
That's so a worm.
If one treasure gets nailed,
there's the goes right there together.
Has to finish going through the deck. And wow, this has been quite a game. So is there, if Vincent had anything here to take out the worm, the Xenagos will stay on the board, but I think Richard would die on the swing back. So let's just see it here. Vincent does not appear to have anything. Get to combat, animate Mutavault. Wow.
There it is. Wow. Richard Papierski after a crazy 1-game match. The game went so long, it's easy to forget that. We'll move on to our semifinals here. Our first seed going to top 8, 7-0-1, hoping to continue this undefeated run through our top 8.
Oh, that was something else. I mean, that game swung a few times. And yeah, we got to see Blue Eye Control tapping out multiple times, main phase, just with the door open to dying, and then and the combo not being there, and eventually it's shown up and battling through. And wow, I mean, that's gonna be I would imagine that's a memorable 1-game match for both of these players. So the backup match is actually the only match that's still playing. So we're gonna go down to it live and finish up the quarterfinals. So let's roll it. That was Steven Dykman versus Max Matteson. We are in game 2 with Dykman up a game, it looks like. Imagine Dykman won game 1 and didn't receive, it was not the benefit of a game loss on Max Mattison's part, but yeah, we don't ever know. So we see Max twice. We didn't see the Outpost Siege.
On camera.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
no, we sure didn't. For the grindy matchups, Joe, I believe. Right. And this is one such matchup.
Mm-hmm.
We've seen Max put on a real clinic with this deck several times in our feature matches so far. And then Steven Dykman, of course, putting on a clinic in the finals of our tournament, of our modern 10K, winning that, getting his seat in the NRG Championship early, and hoping to complete the back-to-back, which very few people have done it in general. Don't know if anyone has done it on the NRG series yet, just winning both weekend events. But Steven can hope to enter that conversation.
Yeah, I mean, that'd be quite a feather. I mean, just winning the Denki on its own and all that goes with that is fantastic. Getting an invite to the Season 3 Regional Championship in Dallas. And now playing spoiler and also playing for money and mid-range points. Seeing if he can, well, you can't start out the season better than winning both events in the first weekend, I guess. But Max Matteson looking to make his own mark on the weekend. All right, so let's pop up Outpost Siege if we can. This is flip the top card and you can play this turn. I don't even remember how this one works. I feel like there's been several generations of these 4-mana red cards that allow card advantage over time. And here we go. Yeah. All right. You can play the top card off of your deck each turn.
So Spikefield has it your pilot token.
Why not? That Bankbuster doesn't need to get crewed for free. And yeah, just kind of catching up on the deck lists here. Oh, we've seen Max Matteson, Stephen Dykman's Rakdos Midrange, featuring Bankbuster. So we are sideboarded, obviously. Let's see if we can intuit some of the changes from the sideboard. The Bankbuster did come in from the board for Stephen. Cards that he might have been interested in bringing in here would probably include. So we saw this matchup earlier where it was like Extinction Event and Ritual of Soot in the sideboard. Do you bring in one or the other, or both, to deal with Max's flood of 2-drops and tokens?
Yeah, I imagine it's the same kind of discussion we had there for Rakdos deck. The only other person, incidentally, to be qualified for the 2023 NRG Championship already.
Okay, so Steven up a game here with Graveyard Trespasser, crewing up Bankbuster, looks like, and sending in. Non-trampling creatures don't seem like too big of an issue for Max's deck, though. He is a 4, but he can block all day.
Yeah, that Bankbuster, I think, mainly a card draw engine. In this matchup, it's drawn its cards, it's made its pilot and so on, and now it's in its retirement. It's just, chugging in for 4 every now and then.
All right. Spike Hazard for another token. That looked like it targeted the Bankbuster, so is Max looking to make a larger block here, or maybe just looking for conniving here?
Another removal spell, perhaps? A big fistful of tokens here. Yeah, all jumping in front of Bankbuster.
So if Max does have another, like a Fiery Impulse or something, then he's opening the door for Stephen Dykman to decide, I want to use a removal spell on just a token to save my Bankbuster, and then Max follows up with the Fire Impulse or something to kill it anyway. But no, none of that happens. And just trades for the tokens. And Graveyard Trespasser looks like it's switching sides again. Max looking at Outpost Siege there, maybe to determine whether he can play the Otawara. I believe he can, and he does make that choice.
No one has played that card in so long that, I forgot what it does as well.
Well, even though Rakdos Midrange is pretty capable of grinding fairly intensive games, it's hard to keep up with something like an Outpost Siege, just drawing a free card every single turn for your opponent after the initial investment, which looks like it could have been made quite some time ago. And Hall of Stormtrine is going to join in with Max sitting at 4 life. I imagine he's pretty confident this on his defenses here. As he's swinging in for, looks like 11 damage, which is not lethal.
And every time it's, wait, your blue-red deck just gets to make a 7/7 out of nowhere? Like that? Are we sure this is the right color for that?
And it's not just the biggest one. It's by far the biggest one.
It just clowns all of them.
Yeah.
The next two biggest ones put together can just about hold a candle to, to a Hall of Storm Giants.
All right. Well, this attack seems to be looming, waiting for Steven to make a decision here, I think.
Gonna see if we can confirm if Max actually drew the card for the turn and not just exiling to Outpost Siege. Not sure our table spotter will be on that.
I didn't actually catch what got cast there, but obviously something did for 1 mana, and Max with 2 fresh tokens and a connive. So maybe it wasn't, the onus wasn't on Steven, it was on Max to decide whether he wanted to cast whatever his spell was and connive pre-damage. Anyway, that has gone through.
The disembodied hand reaches over to flip over the day-night token.
I suppose an extinction event on even
would be phenomenal. Yeah.
If there's a creature in the graveyard, would conceivably win the game here for Steven. Max is tapped out, it looks like, with 10 land in play. Steven has quite a few land of his own. Well, pace of play slows down a little bit here in the later rounds of the day into the elimination rounds, as there are no timers anymore. Players still have to keep up a pace, but with no clock, sometimes more thought is given. And certainly, Steven's is digesting his options here. It looks like another Graveyard Trespasser, allowing maybe a route to victory that doesn't involve combat. However, he's going to have to survive in the turn, and I don't know how likely that is at the moment.
No. Yeah, we can easily just go wide around these gluttons.
Mm-hmm. All right, Max flips a pathway. Even if he's just hitting lands for the last couple turns off Outpost Siege, it still allows him to hold lands drawn in his hand for the tax of targeting Graveyard Trespasser. So that is still some value. Okay, we've got 5 creatures on the board for Max. 1 flies. So an all-out attack would force something from Steven. Here's Hall of Storm Giants joining in.
Readying the troops for one big swing.
Mm-hmm. Hall of Storm Giants ward is 2, correct?
It is a little more, I believe.
Is it? Is it 4 maybe? I feel like whatever it is, it's enough that Steven,
3 in between.
Okay, it's enough that Steven, I don't know what removal spell he's going to have. I guess he's got 3 land in the middle there, and then 3 more on top plus a treasure. It looks like, so he's got plenty of mana actually, but he's not able to survive this attack. So okay, Max is going to even things up, and we're going to see game 3. So the other players are going to have to wait because Max Matteson and Steven Dykman are not done deciding who's going to move on to the top 4.
Yeah, you can see how this matchup could go very long. No surprise, it's the last one standing.
Yeah, definitely. All right, so well, we didn't get to it before because we didn't start the round with this match. But let's bring up the deck list now. Give you a peek at what these players are playing. If you're just joining in, they have been on camera earlier today. Well, Steven, much earlier this morning, playing Modern. So he definitely could conceivably be feeling the effects of playing Magic for 2 days straight at this point. Having
a nice problem to have, if you ask me.
Yes, absolutely.
But yeah, looking at the sideboard, I think the extinction events we determined probably the best people if you want one, and it would make sense that you do. Corrigan's Command, I think, could be interesting. Just nugging a Pyromancer or an Iconoclast, getting something back, dead Graveyard Trespasser, something like that. And then beyond that, there's that same question as before about the duresses, whether you really need or want those. But fairly minimal sideboarding, I would say, overall.
Yeah, I think that's fair. All right, and for Max Matteson, who we've seen on camera a couple times during a lot of parts of the day, well, those were certainly long games. We saw the Outpost Siege came in.
Yeah, we saw the sieges. I'm not sure about Roast, just, Shieldred has to be front and center in his mind. So maybe you want some actual firm answers to that.
Yeah, that's reasonable. Based on the length of the game, maybe you trim out some of your make disappears. I mean, we've seen Max be willing to sacrifice tokens or even actual Iconoclast in order to cast that on a relevant spot. So maybe they stay in. But certainly when you're planning on grinding longer games, which is what Steven is determined to do, Max is going to have to go along and may be advised to board those out. Some of the other options, I don't know that anything is super appealing here, really, in either board, aside from the extinction events.
Yeah, it's the kind of matchup where there's no one thing that can really flip the script on either player. So it's just upgrades to existing removal spells, some better threats, better answers, that kind of thing.
Right. All right. So Max has presented. Steven's still shuffling. We'll give them a moment here, and then we'll get in and see who's going to join. Let's see if we can get I don't have a recap of the rest of the results, but we do know. Here we go. Thank you. So you can see that alongside Richard Papierski, we also had A. Adams win with the Sultai combo.
Neoform continues its run.
Yeah, and Ryan Hayes with Izzet combo. So those are the other three semifinalists awaiting the winner of this game.
Yeah, Izzet combo there, another copy of Creativity, effectively. So could have a Creativity mirror in store at some point before we get out of here.
Okay, well, Steven is going to lead off on. So I don't see the mark. This is game 3, is it not? Weren't we on? Did we lose the pip on, or did we just not add one to Max's side yet? I think that's what happened because this is game 3. It's my understanding. Either way, we are underway here in the current game. Whatever. There's a lot of confusion on what game people are playing this afternoon. It seems like whether we're skipping game 1s due to game losses. There we go. We got it. So this Max has even things up like we thought. And okay, no turn 2 play for either side. Although we do know that Max likes to run out his creatures on turn 3.
Fable already transformed here. Let's get that one turned around.
Is that even better? If you could run it out on the backside first? Yeah, it's not really.
Not right now.
No, it sure isn't. And Max, once again, as is customary, has a 2-drop on turn 3 with a mana open for a cantrip or removal spell, most likely.
See if there's a Fiery Impulse or something to deal with this goblin.
Yeah, I doubt. I mean, even though the treasures are valuable, I doubt Max is going to be interested in trading his Iconoclast for this token. Steven with a Bone Crusher in hand as one way to take out the Iconoclast.
Yeah, this is one big difference between Steven's like fairly stock Rakdos deck and the Raja deck, the Golgari deck we saw, where Bone Crusher Giant, a card whose star has weighed a little bit, but in this matchup, it answers half of it, answers a Pyromancer or an Iconoclast, and then the other half is just a decent threat. So really nice way to embellish both halves of the mid-range formula there.
Yeah. Well, Steven giving a lot of thought here on what he wants to do. Maybe he's afraid of committing something to the board that's going to get killed. I mean, just by declaring attackers, he could find out real. I mean, he may not want to, advance through combat, but just by declaring attackers, he'll find out real quick if Max has a Fire Impulse or some such. There's also a Fatal Push in Steven's hand, so he has all kinds of ways to deal with the Iconoclast.
A lot of options for Dykman. Really taking his time to think it through. And yeah, we start here. We know that this is going to happen.
All right, and Max with no block. Doesn't necessarily mean he doesn't have a Fire Impulse. He may not want to expend it on a token. Maybe he wants to save it for the Fable.
Thoughtseize is the start. Okay.
Post-combat Thoughtseize.
Opt-in response.
All right, let's take a look.
Okay, so we have consider. Little search through here. Okay, so is that double treasure cruise? It looks like.
No,
Rose
I think it's 3.
3. Okay, we got trips.
Yeah.
So, presumably not taking one of those. Yeah, just gonna take Rose and maybe potentially clear the way for a shielded or something.
Mm-hmm. Well, that would be great against a trio of treasure cruise. Okay, well, and with a consider in hand, Max can get some of the way towards being able to cast those cruises, but that's tough because even if the first one, cast only like 3 mana or so, the other ones are going to be at 7 or 8 for a while.
Be a nice spot for a go blank if we brought that one in.
Yeah, that would that would suck.
So okay, Trespasser is nice here too, just like nibbling away at the graveyard over time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. That gets to attack next turn. That's pretty meaningful. Although there is the roast, which is kind of a way for Max to actually discard and get more cards in the graveyard.
I think that's why he took the roast, right? It's a kind of close off that possibility.
Yeah, you're right.
This board already getting very flooded thanks to that second Iconoclast.
Mm-hmm. And so Steven, now this is funny because one of the other matches we had Max on against Raja. Raja got stuck on 3 land in both games he lost, so we never got to find out whether he had the sweepers in hand because he was never able to cast them. Steven does have the Fable token, so he can make treasures to get there. So we will likely see it if he's got it. And again, would be excellent right now.
Okay, just the Fable token coming in. Interesting.
Mm-hmm. Doesn't want to offer it up for a collection of tokens, even though we know he has some removal spells. If Max triple locked, Steven could get around that, but instead it's just going to run out the token, which is going to get triple blocked.
Yep, going to trade off.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, that's great.
Some stuff off there. Now, yeah, here is shielded, and Steven took the one answer that we knew Max had, and now it's on him to find another one and to find it fast.
Yes. So, and it's just, I mean, kind of negates the bulk of Max's hand.
Great. We saw a strangle.
Yeah, accidentally throws a strangle on the table.
So what that means is a second strangle potentially or a fire impulse. We can put 2 removal spells together to kill the shielded, but otherwise it's roast or bust, it looks like.
Yeah, that was the 4th treasure cruise. That was the surveil trigger. So Max happily throws that in the graveyard.
So now, I guess the question becomes: Do you cruise, take 6, and if you draw another burn spell, you're good, and if you don't, then
I mean, he's got enough blockers, so he's certainly not going to have to face the. Okay, here we go. That's a shot on the Graveyard Trespasser, discarding of 1 mind. So Max has all the card drawing in the world and all the tokens in the world.
And now are we cruising and bruising?
I mean, I don't know what we didn't put the cards in our deck to not cast them, but this is this is a little dangerous here. And that reflection is available as a blocker now.
Okay, so shielded is sticking around for now.
Now with Steven having a couple target removal spells in his hand, maybe could actually attack with Shieldred to force. Well, Max would probably just chump block, but in case he didn't, here's Bone Crusher to take out one of the Iconoclasts.
And this Fatal Push for the other? Yes, it is.
Sure. No more free tokens for you, Max. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tokens in place. So if Steven attacks, can Max quintuple block?
He can, yeah.
That's a huge risk on in case Steven has another Fatal Push.
It would be. I mean, you would.
Yeah.
So I guess you saw the Strangle. Max wouldn't do that if he also had another burn spell to finish it off, unless it's exactly Spyfield has or something like that.
Well, Max was ready.
Yeah, here we go.
Pushes in, and there is, and that is down 5 tokens for Max Matteson. Now, granted, they didn't really cost him anything, but now he doesn't have any blockers left. So now Treasure Cruise takes 6 is a lot less appealing in the face of the incoming attackers. In fact, would be lethal if Max found nothing, which, granted, is unlikely, but still. Head and hands, thinking, processing. What is the play now?
I think the play is forced. Here it is.
Full Delve.
So, time to prepare a nice little Sunday roast.
Yes, indeed. And yeah, Max actually has a couple red lands in play. So, red cards more castable, and roast being the one really that he needs. And I don't know if anything else is going to do it.
Double Impulse, double Strangle, some mix of both, but
sure.
He's running low on outs at this point.
There's a line up. Steven leaning forward, eager to get this over with. Can he go to the advance to the semifinals? Ledger Shredder is not going to do it.
You can even punish Max for casting Shredder if you force him to connive and get that draw trigger.
And any creature drawn for Steven is effectively haste with the active reflection on the board.
So if we can force Max to connive, that will put him to 4, and then we can attack with Shieldred, force the trump block. I guess the trump is forced anyway, but
yeah, is connive forced? I don't even know if it's.
It is, yeah.
Okay.
Could also fire up this Hive of the Eye Tyrant.
Sure.
Or the Mutavault too. Yep.
All right, and that's it. And Max extends the hand. Steven Dykman is not done winning yet this weekend. Advances to the top 4 of the Pioneer 5K. Keep in mind, he won the Modern 10K yesterday and this morning. So really,
he's unstoppable.
Padding the bank account this weekend. Yeah, piling up the invites. All right. Well, top 4 is now confirmed. We're going to talk about the upcoming events. Then we're going to take a brief break and come back. And Steven probably needs a minute to recover from that. And then we'll get things rolling. So here is the schedule for the first half of the year. You see March event ongoing. May 20th and 21st in Minneapolis. Reverse of this weekend. Saturday 10K Pioneer. Modern 5K Modern. Sunday 5K Modern. And then June 24th and 25th back here in Mundelein. Saturday 10K Modern. Sunday 5K Legacy. Now keep in mind the change from last year. The winners of all the Saturday main events earn direct invites into the Nerd Rage Championship at the end of the year. The finalists of the Saturday events earn regional championship invites, and the Sunday winners also do, as well as we have a lot more offerings if you're interested in qualifying for regional championships than we did last year, and we'll pop up that slide right now. We do have, on top of the showdown and the trial, there are 4 RCQs per weekend, awarding up to 9 invites. And the reason why it's a variable number, up to 9, is because the more people that sign up, the more invites we get to give away. So if you're interested in trying to qualify for the regional championships upcoming, I believe the current season for Dallas is ending really soon, maybe even next weekend. But then the first season of technically next year begins right after that. So competitive magic, if that's on your radar, come out to Nerd Rage and play. Or if you're enjoying the coverage and you want to watch at home, give us a follow and be notified of future events. For Dominic and I, we're going to take a minute off while the players get ready, and then we'll be back for the top 4. So stick around.